Greetings, everyone. We have another one of our presenters here, Diane Vanderhoeven. Her position and her activity has more to do with history than some of our other presentations because she deals with an activity that's been around fitting into the days of mining and farming and so on that started here in Highlands Ranch. It's called burro racing. Now, I'm not sure any of us have heard of it before, but Diane can explain to us the genesis and the progression of this sport and what it means to us today. It all started back in a long time ago, so everybody say hello to Diane Vanderhoeven, and I'm very interested to find out where she's going to take us. Diane, the first question I have is, somebody who's completely ignorant of this activity, has never even heard of the expression, can you tell us exactly what happens?
Well, it's called packburro racing, and it started 70 years ago, so it's been around for a while. It's actually been designated the Colorado Summer Heritage Sport. Basically, you have a donkey, they carry a pack saddle. The pack saddle has to have a gold pan, a pick, and a shovel because it replicates the mining days from when possibly two prospectors would strike gold in the same place, and then they had to race each other back to the claims office. Whoever got there first was able to put in the claim. So they have to carry this pack saddle, has to weigh a minimum of 33 pounds, and you basically have a nylon halter with a 15-foot rope, and you run as fast as you can. Sometimes they cooperate, sometimes they don't. That's all part of the fun of running with a donkey.
Is there a special route or trail or course or even amphitheater or anything where this happens?
Well, certainly. The shortest race is up at Idaho Springs. It's about 6 miles. It goes up Oh My God Road and then comes back down through the woods. Most of them are going to be single track trails. Most of them start in a small town. This will be your mining towns, Fairplay, Leadville, Buena Vista are the big three. We have what we call the Triple Crown. And unlike horse racing, this is actually tougher because it's one weekend right after another. Fairplay is the last Sunday in July. Leadville's the following Sunday. Buena Vista is the Sunday after that. And the longest race is 29.5 miles at Fairplay. It starts out by the Hand Hotel in downtown Fairplay. You run up through Alma to the top of Mosquito Pass. You run around the Father Dyer Monument up on top, and then you run back to town.
And in these races, is there varying degrees of altitude gain?
Oh my, well, Fairplay, you're starting off in Leadville, 10,000 feet. You're going up to 13,185 to the top of Mosquito Pass, so, yes.
And the burro, by the way, is a Spanish name for donkey.
Donkey,
yeah.
Yes.
Now, are these burros specially trained, or you just pick them up from whatever their career would have been prior to running the race, or how do you get the burro?
Well, it mainly started out with guys saying, hey, my burro can run faster than your burro. And yeah, you know, it's that type of sport. Some people breed. There's 3 different sizes of donkeys, 3 different classifications. The mini donkey is only 36 inches high at the shoulder, so a lot of dogs are actually bigger than the mini donkey. Then a standard goes to from 36 to 54 for a female, 56 for a male, and then a mammoth size is 54 and 56 inches tall. And mine that I have now is a mammoth size, and it's really kind of a neat size to have because you can also ride them. They're very rideable, a lot of fun to ride. The really cool thing about donkeys is, yeah, they get the moniker that they're stubborn, but they're actually exceedingly intelligent, and they won't do anything that's going to cause them any harm. Therefore, they don't take stupid chances, and they're just characters. Each of them has a really different personality. They're fun.
In any race, do you have to have all one class of these 3 classes of donkeys, or it can be mixed?
Oh, it's all different sizes. It's pretty neat, yeah. And some of the little guys actually beat a lot of the big guys because they just go. You know.
And they are all genders?
Yes.
Same gender?
No, they're all
genders.
mixed genders. Yeah, you'll have a Jennet, you'll have a gelding, or you'll have a Jack, and that gets a little exciting sometimes.
Now, the owners, I don't know what to call them, owners or the jockeys of these animals. What would you designate?
Well, you're not a jockey because you're running.
Not riding.
You're running alongside the burro. You're not riding the burro. If you get caught riding, you're disqualified.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the burro is pulling you, and sometimes you're pulling it. You can be in front or behind.
Exactly. Ideal situation is to have them pull you up the mountain. Ideal situation is for you to be ahead of them going down because that way you control the speed. Like I said, a lot of times it's on a single track trail. If you're ahead of them, they're not going to run over you, so you can control how fast you're going. Otherwise, they will just be like a freight train going down a mountain with no brakes, and it gets a little exciting. If you do get disconnected from your donkey, in other words, you drop the lead rope, then you have to go catch the donkey and take them back to the area that you became disconnected, and you have to start again from that area, or else you're disqualified.
Do the donkeys seem to enjoy this?
A lot of times they do. They're very competitive as well. It's pretty neat. I'll have to show you some pictures of them actually leaning on each other coming across the finish line trying to beat out the other one.
Am I correct that this is now a sport identified with our area of Colorado, period? And it's sort of has an association, burro racing, and it gets ESPN, am I correct, has been here to film some of it?
ESPN, a lot of other channels have done specials on it. Yeah, it's indigenous to Colorado. It was started here. Like I said, it's been designated our Colorado Summer Heritage Sport.
In the 1870s, 1880s?
Well, it was started 70 years ago.
Okay.
As far as races goes.
What, you have these races that are close together, but the other times of the year, you have to care for your burro, for your donkey.
Sure.
You have them as like a pet. Is he used for anything else, or how do you operate with your donkey?
My donkey, personally, he likes to go trick-or-treating, so he gets dressed up for Halloween, and we go around the neighborhood and go trick-or-treating. At Christmas time, up at Buffalo Creek, they have the tree cutting, and families have come there for 30-plus years, and it's a family tradition. And he goes over there with his Santa hat, and he gets pictures with the families, and people just love him because he's got a really neat personality.
What is the effective or productive period of lifespan of a donkey?
Wow. Well, usually 40 to 50 years old. However, up in Fairplay, there's a monument to Prunes the burro. Prunes was very loved by his miner. His miner, as the story goes, was he would make a list of items he needed at the store, and he'd pin it to the donkey's saddle, and the donkey would go into town, get the supplies, come back to the miner, and he asked to be buried with his donkey. And Prune supposedly lived to be 63 years old. So, pretty cool.
Is there any agency or maybe independent where somebody would like to, I don't know if I'm using the correct word, but mate a donkey with another so that you can develop that sport within that family of donkeys? People do that.
People do that, yes. One of our longtime burro racers, Curtis Emery, just passed away a year and a half or so ago. And he was into breeding the mammoth stock, in other words, the larger burros. And he developed quite a beautiful strain of racing donkeys, and his did quite well at the races.
Where in Fairplay is this monument?
By the Hand Hotel.
Is it a statue?
It is, yes. And all the winners of the races have small little bronze plaques with their name on it.
On a plaque with the donkey. How about your history of being a racer?
I've won Leadville 3 times, twice with my donkey that I have now, and once with a donkey that I borrowed. And, I've done well. I've done 3rd place in the short course and the long course at Fair Play. So
I understand that there are sometimes significant injuries, maybe not that significant, but certainly bothersome injuries, not so much on the donkey, but on the lead owner. Am I correct?
That can happen, yes. One of my very first races, I got drugged by the donkey, and you don't want to let go of the rope because then you have to go back to where you got separated. So you hang on as long as you can. And I got a few rope burns and burns from some of the rocks and stuff.
Well, the significance of this activity has been a boon to some of these cities during the summer tourist season. Am I correct?
Yes, very much so. They will have a whole weekend celebration, basically. Leadville has Boom Days. Fair Play has the World Championship packburro race, and it's a huge thing. Vendors, a lot of flea market activities, like a carnival atmosphere, basically, and it's the big draw for that town. It used to be that they would start the race in either Fair Play or Leadville, race up over the top of Mosquito Pass, and go to the other town. But then the 2 towns started bickering because the town that the race ended in was getting more money. So then they divided up, and now each of them have their own race.
You said World Championship. Are there other places besides here in Colorado and those towns that you mentioned that have something like this?
I believe there are a few other states. I think Texas started having a couple races. But it's been mainly people here locally that have gone down to get that started. World Championship packburro race, I think it's been called that pretty much ever since Fair Play got their own race, because they wanted to have a bigger race than Leadville.
So what I've seen in one of the magazines that you provided here, Runner's World, that it's kind of a combination of being a trail runner.
Mm-hmm.
I won't use the word jog anymore, and what goes on today is certainly not jogging, but it's a combination of the stamina of the human.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like the donkeys are all set all the time. They're ready for this. I might be wrong. I don't know what kind of training that they need. Is there such a specialized training of these donkeys?
Well, not necessarily specialized. You just take them out and run them, get them used to it. You'll have certain commands that you might give them. A lot of it is the herd dynamics. They will perform much better if they're with other donkeys, especially donkeys they like. You can work together as a team and just go. A lot of donkeys don't like to be in front. They like to follow. So, if you can find another donkey that donkey will work with.
Could you give us a time of a typical race, how many miles and how long it takes for the winner in his burro to complete that race? Can you give us a sense of that timing?
Let me see. They always have people that make predictions on how long the race is going to be. That's part of the betting system for Leadville and Fair Play, and you can actually go bet on what you think the winning time will be for that. I want to say that round trip Fair Play, I think the overall is Tom Soball, and this is 29.5 miles, and I think he did it under 3 hours. And that's just all out running as fast as you can go. It's crazy.
So whatever wagering there is sort of on an individual basis?
No, it's something that's run by the town. I mean, even Leadville has a system that and you just buy a ticket, and you say, okay, it's like a $1 ticket or whatever, and you say, okay, the winning time is going to be this, and you just put it in. Whoever gets the closest.
Is that how the expression "you bet your ass" came from?
That could be. We do throw ass around a lot. We have the Western Packburro Association, and there's a lot of ass jokes,
And what kind of prize in any of these races do the owner and the donkey get for first place, we'll say?
I believe the highest prize is $1,200 for the long course at Fair Play.
Speaking of money, what kind of outlay does it take to keep a donkey?
It's pretty pricey. It's about like a horse. They normally don't eat as much as a horse. They're a desert animal, so they're pretty self-sufficient.
Well, in researching your background, I find that you have an affinity not only for donkeys, but for cars.
Uh-huh.
If you were had to choose between the two, what would be your favorite pastime that you would spend time and money on?
Oh, well, the donkey's probably more fun, to be honest. I enjoy cars as well, but the donkey, I can take him out running and just have a great time. He's also somebody that my daughter's friends can ride, and I know that they will come back in one piece because, like I said, he's very intelligent. He doesn't make stupid mistakes, and he's just a great, fun animal. He's part of the family, basically.
In a typical week, how many hours would you say you devote to caring for, and then sometimes even enjoying, your donkey?
Oh, probably just a normal week, 2 to 3 hours. I mean, he's out in the pasture. I go out and make sure that they have hay and water, and everybody's happy.
Well, would you advise somebody who has the wherewithal and is giving up the Colorado sport like skiing? That's a little too much. But would you advise somebody to get involved in anything like this if they have the wherewithal and the time?
It's really a lot of fun. I mean, people come out. It's usually a shotgun start, so it gets a little crazy. You'll have donkeys running over through the crowd and whatever else. You get a lot of people out there that haven't necessarily done it before, and so they don't have any idea what to expect, and donkeys will be loose, and it gets crazy. But I highly recommend it. I think if you're a runner and you enjoy it, you just want to go out and commune with a donkey, then more power to you. You might be out there on the trail alone with that donkey for a long time. It just depends.
At any time during these events for the race, which is part of a week-long tourist bazaar of some kind, has at any time a donkey ever lost his cool and sort of frightened people or maybe caused any injury or damage that you can remember?
Oh, nothing serious. There was one girl that she had been a burro racer for a long time, and she wasn't very kind to her donkey, and he decided to pay her back, and he kicked her right in the chest, and she was hurting pretty good. Broke a couple ribs, I believe.
Well, you can do that running anywhere.
Sure. You bet.
Anything else you'd like to add about this affinity you have, not only for the sport, but for the animal?
The animal itself? Well, there's the legend of the Shadow of the Cross, and this is an appropriate time of the year for that. You may or may not know, last Sunday was Palm Sunday, and Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Well, there's a legend that a farmer had a donkey at that time, and he didn't like the donkey. He felt the donkey was worthless, and he went to his daughters and he said, I'm going to get rid of the donkey. I want to, why should I feed this worthless animal? And the daughters loved the donkey, and they talked the farmer into tying the donkey out by the road. And so the next day, he tied the donkey out there, and that day the disciples walked up and said, our master wants to borrow this donkey. And the farmer was just incredulous. He's like, what what would he want this worthless animal for? And so they took the donkey to Jesus, and Jesus petted the donkey, and he rode the donkey on Palm Sunday. So then when he was going to be crucified, the donkey followed him, and he was very sad for his master. But, he wanted to carry the cross, and Jesus said, you can't carry the cross. This is something I have to do. But as an honor to the donkey, he bestowed the shadow of the cross on the donkey's back. And it runs the whole length of his back, and then it crosses at his shoulders. And this is something that the donkey has had on their back ever since then. So, yeah, my donkey has a beautiful brown cross. I don't know if you can see it, but it's usually out of darker hair than whatever color that the donkey is. A brown donkey will have like almost a black cross, or a light colored donkey will have a brown cross. And it's a gorgeous thing. So there's a legend of the shadow of the cross.
Well, Diane, for people who pick up a hobby or a passion, a lot of us who've never done it, or in this case many have never even heard about this, can find out there's an awful lot of satisfaction, obviously, you get from it, and inspiration that others might have for whatever sport they get into. I personally, you're going to find out how many races you plan to be in this year, and I'm going to make a couple. I've already asked to try to get there, but sometimes my schedule is not controlled by me. What are the ones you are signing on for this year?
I'm hoping to do the Big Three this year.
That would be?
Fairplay, Leadville, and Buena Vista.
Okay.
That's my plan. My all-time favorite, of course, I've won it 3 times, is Leadville. I love the history up there. As you know, our mutual friend Kip has the Delaware Hotel. That one's always fun. The people there are just fantastic. I've just got some other things I need to get done before that. I'm testing for my black belt, and got to get that done, and then I'm hoping to get those races in. So.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I hope the people who have observed this come away with an appreciation for the grit that's involved in this, and for an understanding that being in Colorado back in those days of coal mining and beginning ranching, there wasn't a whole lot of extracurricular entertainment to get involved with. It didn't take much for someone to decide, my donkey is faster than your donkey, and I'm going to get to the claims office before you, and that important and necessary activity has now become a national sport and has put us, this part of Colorado, partially the reason we're on the map. Burro racing. Make sure that you listen to what we just done here, and make sure you let people know that you live in a very famous part of the country, the part of the burro racing headquarters of the state of Colorado. Thank you so much, Diane.